Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. This cyber attack could send gold and silver soaring. Let's explore. Yes, indeed, breaking through news as of this day, Saturday, May the 8th. There has been a cyber attack that essentially has shut down 45% of East Coast fuel coming through a pipeline. So this pipeline that came through some ransomware has shut down the Colonial Pipeline. Fascinating indeed. And the U.S. fuel pipeline operator Colonial Pipeline has shut its entire network after a cyber attack, the company said in a statement on Friday, according to this article here. Colonial's network supplies fuel from U.S. refiners on the Gulf Coast to the populous eastern and southern United States. The company transports 2.5 million barrels per day of gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other refined products through 5,500 miles of pipelines. Colonial Pipeline says it transports 45% of East Coast fuel supply. So there was a malicious software that was used in a cyber attack that was ransomware, which, as you know, it's a type of malware that is designed to lock down systems by encrypting data and demanding payment in order to regain access. This is from two security industry sources. And this malware has grown in popularity over the last 5 years and is most often deployed by cybercriminal groups. The company learned of this attack on Friday and took systems offline to contain the threat, it said in a statement. That action has temporarily halted operations and affected some of its IT systems. The company has engaged a third-party cybersecurity firm to launch an investigation, and Colonial has contacted law enforcement and other federal agencies. It did not give further details to say how long the pipelines would be shut down, but you can guess that it's going to have an effect on supplies of oil getting to you and me for our tanks, for our gasoline engines, and obviously for jet fuel and the like, and that could have a big hit on the price. We did see gasoline futures gain 0.6 cents, 6.6% to settle at $2.12 a gallon, while diesel futures rose 1.1% to settle at $2.01 a gallon. And the longer-term effects depend on the amount of time that the lines are shut. If barrels are not able to make it into the lines, Gulf Coast prices could weaken further, while prices in New York Harbor could rise, one market participant said. So this is definitely a big deal. And Colonial significantly shut down its gasoline and distillate lines during Hurricane Harvey, which hit the Gulf Coast in 2017. So we saw fuel prices go up then as well. And so when you think about fuel cost and oil and the like, and how that is essentially tied to some degree, at least to gold and silver prices, we very much could see that again. And if it's shut down for a long enough period of time, we could see these prices continue to go up, as well as the other commodities, putting further strain on the economy in general. And you know how analysts tend to tie oil with gold, or gold with oil. When oil goes up, typically gold goes up too. Well, in a sense, it's a commodity, and they're all commodities, even though gold is obviously a monetary metal. But if you think about it, oil sort of is the currency of the world these days, and it's obvious that there are ties closely to different monetary systems. In fact, we remember that the dollar itself, thanks to Henry Kissinger, became tied to oil, or oil to the dollar, and all the transactions that came from Saudi Arabia and OPEC nations transact in the dollar. And so therefore the weakening, and with oil becoming a bit more scarce in terms of getting to where it needs to be, fuel costs go up, and that could have an effect on gold and silver to the upside, I feel. And therefore, they could essentially, with everything else that's going on, and with FOMO, fear of missing out, in terms of what we tend to see in the marketplace, it would not surprise me if they were to soar if this shutdown were to persist and this cyber attack being blamed for it, as we see here in this news story that has occurred. And we have heard about ransomware attacks happening at local governments and federal agencies and the like. And it's something that is a grave threat and to be on the lookout for. We've even seen it for some of our channels in this community, that we've seen hacks and ransomware essentially shutting down YouTube channels and the like. So you got to be very, very careful out there in that regards. But this is something that can have a lasting effect on fuel prices, but also precious metal prices could be affected by this. We'll see. It is interesting, and it just goes to show you that though I would not call this a black swan event per se, it's an unexpected development that certainly in a time where we are in a fragile economy and with the volatility of precious metal prices, this could be just one of several factors that could send gold and silver up. And we will certainly keep an eye on this and see how that plays out in the coming weeks, but even so in the coming day. Most of you are probably aware that on 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday nights, I do a live stream where we watch the markets, and we will be watching the markets tomorrow to see exactly what is going to be happening with gold and silver prices, and partly in response to this particular case. Not sure if it will have an effect in the Asian markets right yet, but we shall see. You never know. Stranger things have happened, but we will keep an eye on it. But gold and silver, it's 2021, and they have certainly made headlines for sure. With these precious metals will continue to, I think, surprise us and stun us as we head into the year, one way or the other. And it is an interesting time we live in for sure. What do we expect out of gold and silver? Well, that they protect our wealth. Wealth preservation is the main reason why we accumulate gold and silver. And we will continue to do so with that expectation and that expectation alone. But nonetheless, we are living in a time where the volatility of the metals is as such that they could far outperform in these days, in this present time, in this present crisis to an extent that seems to not end one way or the other. And when things like this that are thrown into the cog of the system, such as this cyber attack that affects such a great amount of fuel supply to the United States, this certainly does mean that we could see some further volatility in the markets and potentially see higher gold and silver prices. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I think it's something to take into account and to consider for sure as we deal with all kinds of other activities and things that are having an effect on the market, in both positive and negative, but mostly negative, especially with this currency printing like it's going out of style. This modern monetary theory is in full effect and form, and they're feeling more emboldened by it because, hey, if they break the system, well, they'll just reset the system. But until then, I believe that we are going to be in for some troublesome times in terms of, how our monetary system is being abused these days. And it's not going to bode well for the currencies that are in part, and all nations around the world are essentially participating in it. So there you have it. And we'll see how it plays out. But nonetheless, gold and silver will remain strong as a foundational wealth preservation tools, indeed. So it's a good thing to have some of this metal for sure here in 2021. Hope you found this video interesting and useful, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.